watching WUFT Midday.
Vice President Harris continues to rally more voters to her side for the upcoming election about controversial topics. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., former President Trump speaks to Jewish voters about this issue in their community. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Nicole Borman. As Bree Jackson reports, both candidates are speaking to different groups to rally support.
Vice President Harris joining Oprah Winfrey in front of an audience for a live stream event that included celebrity appearances. Harris seeking to speak directly to voters on issues ranging from abortion to the economy.
My plan is to give startup small businesses a $50,000 tax deduction to start up their small business.
During the discussion, Harris and her supporters urged Americans from all walks of life to unite around the Democratic ticket.
So we have the cat ladies for Kamala here. Rural Americans for Harris.
Do not be afraid to vote, because I think there is also something quite insidious about these attacks on the electorate in these various forms that are intended to convince people that their vote won't matter.
Meanwhile, former President Trump made his case to Jewish voters in Washington, D.C.
We're going to defeat Kamala Harris. You have to defeat Kamala Harris. More than any other people on earth, Israel, I believe, has to defeat her.
While taking part in two events aimed at fighting anti-Semitism, Mr. Trump touted his support for Israel while recognizing the hostages still held by Hamas.
We pray for you, and somehow it's going to work out. We're going to get it to work out.
Both candidates are working to woo key voting blocs in this tight race and laying out what's at stake in this year's election. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The U.S. Postal Service will implement extraordinary measures to make sure your 2024 ballot for mail-in votes are delivered on time. This comes as concerns are rising by both Democrats and Republicans about the post office past ability to deliver the ballots. As Cheryl Hubbard reports, the USPS is thinking ahead about how to improve ballot delivery.
The United States Postal Service, or USPS, says it's prepared.
Let me be clear. The Postal Service is ready to deliver the nation's mail-in ballots.
Postmaster General Louis DeJoy pledged Thursday that the U.S. Postal Service will implement, quote, extraordinary measures to ensure the timely delivery of mail-in voting. These special measures include designated lines at post offices for people with ballots, extra deliveries and collections by letter carriers, after-hours drop-offs to election offices, and keeping processing facilities open on the Sunday before Election Day.
We engage in heroic efforts intended to beat the clock.
But not everyone is convinced. In the swing state of Georgia, the USPS, Georgia's Regional Processing and Distribution Center, has suffered months of mail issues.
What we have seen in the state of Georgia over the last year has been abysmal performance by U.S. Postal Service leadership.
Former President Donald Trump has made claims about supposed fraud with mail-in voting since he was on the 2020 campaign trail.
Watch your vote, because they tend to disappear.
He has resurrected those false claims this election cycle.
Mail-in voting is totally corrupt.
USPS officials said in the 2020 election, it delivered 99.89% of ballots from voters to election officials within 7 days. I'm Cheryl Hubbard reporting.
If you are planning to vote by mail, be sure to put your ballot in the mail at least 1 week before Election Day, November 5th. Cedar Key Mayor Sue Colson releases statements about the fire that broke out Thursday morning. Colson says she is signing a disaster declaration to make resources available to help in recovery efforts. The city is working with officials to start recovery after putting out any remaining hotspots or fires. The city is also working to protect the environment, including waterways and shellfish farms. Businesses like Dunkin's, the Rusty Hook, the Island Trading Post, and Steamer's Restaurant were damaged during the fire. You can reach out to the city's information hotline on weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. to help anyone and answer any questions. A former girls and boys club basketball coach is charged with sexually abusing children in Marion County. 58-year-old Carl Philip Lombardo was arrested Wednesday. He faces charges of human trafficking and child pornography. Investigators say he refused to give back a teenage victim to his parents after a sleepover with the victim's sibling. Once the child eventually got home, he and his siblings told their parents about the inappropriate touching. They also found disturbing pictures on his phone. Lombardo is in Marion County Jail without bond. 3 people have been charged with destruction of public property after shooting guns in a wildlife conservation area in Levy County. County staff at Blue Springs Park say they heard gunshots in Devil's Hammock Wildlife Management Area. Officers say one person was allegedly planning to sell the guns to the other 2 people and was testing them before the sale. 4 guns, 2 pistols, a shotgun, and an AR-15 were found. Shooting in wildlife management areas can be harmful to the wildlife environment and those involved with the shooting. The Board of County Commissioners thank Levy County Parks and Recreation for helping to protect the county's nature. Incoming House Speaker Daniel Perez is pushing back against a proposal that would give the state university system's Board of Governors more control over searches for new university presidents. He says the change would manipulate the hiring process. The proposal comes as 3 out of the 12 state universities are operating with interim presidents. UF's search for a new president 2 years ago came under controversy for the secrecy around the selection process. The change will give the chairman of the board veto power over the selections by having final say over the list of applicants before going public. This list will give public at the end of the search, which makes information like their name secret until the finalists are selected. The UF weather team is tracking sunny skies today, and let's take a quick look over at the traffic cam. We are currently looking at our DOT camera on I-75 in near Paynes Prairie. Traffic is looking normal, so make sure to get on the road soon to beat any traffic later. There are not any clouds in the sky, so we can see a weekend potentially clear of storms. Let's get over to our UF forecaster, Tara Rydberg, with what you could expect this weekend.
Clear skies over north central Florida. We see just a couple sprinkles of showers possible right over Chiefland and Jacksonville. We can see this especially on our Century Tower camera with these clear skies with the clouds, as well as winds coming out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour with our temperature right at 86. Temperatures across north central Florida telling pretty similar stories. 87 pretty much just around from Ocala up to 85, but looking at the temperatures down in Daytona, 85 there. Our hour by hour going into tonight, 6 p.m., expect that greatest chances of storms then, 20% chance at 84 degrees. Going into the morning at 4 a.m., 71 with fog possible. Our satellite and radar showing those clear skies again just over north central Florida, but we do see a bout of low pressure just over South Florida, fueling the storms just off the coast, but nothing to affect us here. Our future cast is showing again those clear skies, maybe a couple clouds here and there, 5 p.m., maybe a shower, but nothing too serious going to impact us this weekend. Just bringing that clear skies again. This is actually fueled by a bout of dry air brought from the cold front that happened earlier this week. The dusty orange indicating drier temperatures. But we can even see it now in north central Florida, the impacts. Last week it was in the upper 70s for our dew point temperature. Right now, 70 degrees. Our 70 degrees showing again the lack of storms in the area. Our 7-day outlook going into the week, 88 degrees on Saturday, high 90s or low 90s on Tuesday, and then on Thursday and Friday 86 degrees, but that storm chance increasing again.
Conversations about how you are feeling can be difficult, especially when it comes to your preteen and teen. But experts say connecting with your kids can help guide them towards making responsible decisions when it comes to drugs, sex, or mental health. CNN's Mandy Gaither has some ideas on how to get teens to open up about tough topics.
We're all busy and have to contend with modern-day technologies, but staying connected with children is one of the best things a parent can do.
I have 3 teenage girls, and it is the best part of my life. But I also know how hard it can be sometimes to get kids to talk about their feelings.
A recent CDC survey found nearly 77% of parents believe their teens always had the social and emotional support they need, but only 28% of teens agreed with that.
Close emotional relationships between parents and teens are associated with all kinds of long-term benefits: improved mental and general health, less dangerous behavior like substance abuse.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says there are prompts to help get preteens and teens to open up.
Maybe ask teens for their internal weather report or what weather pattern best reflects how they feel at the time. You can also ask them what song or movie describes their mood. Maybe ask about the high and low points of their day.
When connecting with teens, the CDC says to also engage in active listening. Find out more about what they like and why, and be the person they trust and want to come to when they need an adult.
The goal here is to build a safe and supportive space where people can be vulnerable. So do respect any boundaries and be patient.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
If you are having concerns about your child's mental health, the CDC says to be sure to reach out to a healthcare provider. Social media and video streaming services are watching you to use your information to make money. A new Federal Trade Commission staff report says 9 companies, including Meta, YouTube, and TikTok, are collecting and using your data. This means your buying habits, interests, political views, and how you interact with posts are being collected. FTC says companies make billions of dollars with your data, but this could put your privacy in danger and expose you to identity theft and stalking. FTC recommends that companies limit data collection and sharing to protect its users. It also says Congress should pass federal privacy legislation to address these issues. Be on the lookout for signs of whooping cough, especially in your teens. Experts at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said the U.S. is experiencing a spike more than 4 times what it did last year. Whooping cough is a bacterial infection that is highly contagious because it spreads through air. Doctors say the current numbers are likely much higher than reported. CDC says those with the growing belief against vaccination are playing a part in the outbreak. For younger people, this can be an issue because most have not got a whooping cough booster since childhood. But it can be treated with antibiotics if doctors spot it early. Look for the signs, a sound that people make when they cannot get air during coughing fits. Now let's get over to WUFT's First at 5 anchor Alexis Vivanco with a look at what's coming up on First at 5 on Channel 5.
Coming up on WFT's First at 5, alarming statistics reveal the truth behind a problem facing schools in America. And a concept ripped straight out of the sci-fi. Astronauts and NASA share a breakthrough that could revolutionize farming forever. Plus, we'll share an important update brought to you by the Florida Highway Patrol on why you should register your emergency contact. In the studio, Alexis Vivanco, WFT News.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Those temperatures, high 80s, low 90s throughout the week, with that chance of rain really picking up towards the end of the week. Maybe pack an umbrella Wednesday onwards, but overall this weekend, expect the clear skies, as well as maybe go to the beach or the pool or something outside, as those temperatures are lower, as well as chance of rain decreased.
Thanks for joining us for WUFT Midday. We're back on here Monday for another edition. We now join Sports Scene with Steve Russell live on WRUF Radio and right here on WRUF-TV Channel 6.